Well, A.J. Brown caused a Twitter storm yesterday that resulted in multiple insiders confirming that teams are calling the Birds to try and trade with the star wide receiver. Plus, the NFL reinstated 5 players following gambling violations, but our Isaiah Rodgers did not make the cut. And Howie Roseman was asked straight up about the Birds drafting Jeremiah Trotter Jr. I'm Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show. Just a quick PSA, just for everyone watching right now. I do not want A.J. Brown traded, nor do I think A.J. Brown is getting traded, but here we are. Do with that as you will. Okay, so yesterday was one of those really weird days in the media where, once again, A.J. Brown's name was thrown around with the word trade, which, of course, naturally causes a massive commotion. Misinformation is spread, and, of course, Eagle fans get very, very angry. But I think the easiest way to explain exactly what happened yesterday is to kind of go step by step, explain the entire story. For instance, starting with the first domino, which was simply A.J. Brown changing all of his social media profile pictures to Tom Brady. And I know, that's not really news, that's not really newsworthy, but again, it was the first domino. I'm trying to explain what happened here. Stick with me. Next, A.J. Brown then followed Patriots quarterback Jacoby Brissett and Pats wide receiver KJ Osborne on Instagram. Again, that's not crazy. You're allowed to follow anyone you want on Instagram. Bear with me. But then, of course, all hell decided to break loose on Twitter because people saw Pats GM Elliott Wolf's words saying, quote, "Yeah, we've had conversations with teams about different scenarios, not just the receiver position, but in other positions. So that's definitely something that we'd be open to," as a sign the Pats wanted to trade for A.J. Brown. And just like that, the rumor started. A.J. Brown's going to be traded to the New England Patriots. It's all over Twitter. Oh my goodness, could the Eagles get number 3 overall? Could they get number 34 overall? And you see exactly why I'm having to do this show. Thankfully, AJ, or maybe his agent, quickly realized what was going on, and he posted this to his Twitter account saying, quote, "TB12 was my favorite player ever. I watched The Dynasty, and it brought back some memories from my childhood. Go look up what he did in 2015 when he was doubted or disrespected." Yeah, I see the disrespect. Motivated. Yes, that's it. I didn't think changing my profile pic to the greatest quarterback ever would cause controversy. Take care. Now, AJ would later delete that tweet. It's no longer up on his Twitter account, and for those of you guys who always like to tell me that's not AJ Brown's Twitter account, we've done this before. That is 100% A.J. Brown's Twitter account. So if you're following along at home, A.J. Brown changed his Twitter profile pic to Tom Brady because he loves Tom Brady and wanted to hint that he's going to go crazy this year like Brady did in 2015. Great. No worries. End of the story. That should basically be it. But then shortly after all of this, the highly respected NFL insider Albert Breer tweeted that the Eagles have reportedly shut down every team trying to trade for star wide receiver A.J. Brown and told teams that he is not available. Kind of odd timing, or maybe great timing, but still, that's a big-time story. Teams are calling the Philadelphia Eagles because they think A.J. Brown could be traded for. They're asking if they could trade for A.J. Brown, and the Eagles are strictly saying, no, we are not trading A.J. Brown. Then, of course, shortly after Breer's post, NBC confirmed that the New England Patriots did inquire about Eagles star wide receiver A.J. Brown. Okay, so we've come full circle here, right? A.J. Brown changes his profile pic to Tom Brady. A.J. Brown then says it's because he likes Tom Brady. Then you go, oh, well, the Patriots say they're calling people about a wide receiver trade. Oh, could that be A.J. Brown? Then they say, hey, teams are calling the Eagles about a trade for A.J. Brown, but the Eagles are saying no. Finally, we know, yes, the Patriots did call the Philadelphia Eagles asking about an A.J. Brown trade, and what do you know? Philadelphia said, no, we are not trading A.J. Brown. And there you have it. It's a great example of how Twitter stories go wild before real information is actually out there. It's much to do about nothing, and a classic case of angles of stories and guesstimations of stories turn into, oh my goodness, the Eagles are going to trade this player. And of course, this all stems off the fact that, yes, A.J. Brown and the whole trade controversy has hovered over Philadelphia all season, despite the fact the Eagles and A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith and everybody involved has said we're not trading him. The media have tried to stir up controversies time and time again and tried to hint that Philadelphia would trade A.J. Brown at some point, which I've said many times was never going to happen. And yet, I still see people in my comment section as early as a couple of days ago saying, oh, hey, Thomas, the Titans said the same thing about A.J. Brown right before the NFL draft, and then they traded him to Philadelphia the night of the draft. And of course, oh, A.J. Brown has potential out in his contract in 2025. The Eagles are not going to pay $26 million, $41 million in dead cap hits in 25 and 26, so it wouldn't be surprising if the Eagles were trying to move off of him. But again, the Eagles are not trading A.J. Brown. They've made it very, very clear. And you wouldn't have an Albert Breer report saying the Eagles are not trading A.J. Brown if they didn't actually tell Albert Breer to say that or leak it to a source and get it out to the media. The Philadelphia Eagles are not wanting to trade A.J. Brown. Think about it. The Eagles are very much all in this year. They're very much trying to go ahead and win a Super Bowl. The second you trade A.J. Brown on the night of the draft, your Super Bowl chances are virtually over. Now, you can say you love Devontae Smith, and I do, and you can say you love Xavier Worthy in the first round, and I do, but if you take A.J. Brown out of this football team, out of this locker room, and out of this offense, the Eagles are not a Super Bowl caliber roster, and Howie Roseman knows that. They love A.J. Brown inside that locker room. All Eagle fans except like 3 2, 3, love A.J. Brown. He's not going anywhere, and stories like this are crazy, but my job is to tell you what happened yesterday, and that's basically what happened. Now, there was another non-move that happened yesterday, which did cause more drama in the world of the Philadelphia Eagles, when the NFL reinstated 5 players who were suspended indefinitely last year following gambling policy violations, including Quintez Cephas, C.J. Moore, Demetrius Taylor, Shaka Toney, and Rashad Berry, which is great for all those players. Welcome back to the NFL, but there's a player missing, and that's Philadelphia's Isaiah Rodgers. And Eagles reporter John McMullen quickly pointed out that from an NFL source on Isaiah Rodgers, he was eligible for a petition for reinstatement after the conclusion of the 2023 season. His status remains under review, so it has nothing to do with the date of the original suspension. So despite other players getting reinstated, it doesn't seem to be an indication that Rodgers will be reinstated anytime soon, but it also doesn't guarantee he won't be reinstated. But still, the fact he's been eligible for reinstatement since the Super Bowl, and still today, after 5 other players got reinstated, is not a good sign for Bird fans. And PFN's Anthony DeBona made a really good point on his Twitter when he said, "I'm not saying that Isaiah Rodgers won't eventually be reinstated by the NFL at some point this offseason. I'm simply saying the fact that he admitted to betting on his own team may complicate things. It could be why he wasn't reinstated today and other players were. The initial suspensions were considered indefinite and didn't include a timeline for a return." And that's basically where we're at right now. Philadelphia probably has no clue if Isaiah Rodgers is coming back or not. They're just sitting back and waiting and hoping that the NFL is going to reinstate him. Now, people on Twitter were trying to say that, oh, because he wasn't reinstated yesterday, that means he's not going to be reinstated at all. That is not the case. It's indefinite. Like at any moment, the NFL could go, hey, guess what? You're back in the league, or they can just not reinstate him and he never comes back to the NFL. Either way, it's very clear Philadelphia has had a plan in place for cornerback, regardless of what happens with Isaiah Rodgers from the day that this all went down. And it seems like they are going to look at the draft to be the option if Rodgers specifically is not able to be reinstated. Which, for instance, is why the Eagles have met with, like, all the top cornerbacks in this year's draft. And Daniel Jeremiah said yesterday that he wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles trade up for Tyrion Arnold from Alabama or Quinyon Mitchell from Toledo. I think the Eagles are between pass rusher and cornerback in round 1, and if they don't get a cornerback in round 1, they're going to get one at some point with their 7 other draft picks in next week's NFL draft. Let me know what you guys think, though. Would you go corner in round 1 despite all the Isaiah Rodgers drama that's looming? Would you go later on in the draft? Let me know in the comment section right now. Now, finally, we haven't talked a lot about Clemson linebacker Jeremiah Trotter Jr. in a while, but for those of you who didn't watch Howie Roseman's 32-minute long press conference 2 days ago, at the very end, a reporter straight up asked him about drafting the Axeman's son.
I'm biased towards our hometown players. I'm biased towards the people who have legacy with this franchise. So I think that's hard, and I think that's why when Coach talked about getting a lot of the information and trying to get myself out of that moment and just trying to make the best decision for the Philadelphia Eagles and not making an emotional decision. And so I think when you talk about any of the guys who are local, and we just talked about trading a guy who was local, it's hard not to want to keep guys who have Philly ties, who understand what it's like to play here, or to bring those guys in. And I do think it's a plus. It's a plus to bring someone in this atmosphere who understands what it's like. And this is the best atmosphere in the National Football League. And I think that, they know that when you win, it's like nothing else that you experience that. But it's different for people who haven't experienced that before.
Now, I like Jeremiah Trotter Jr. There was at one point people thought he was a second-round draft pick. I think he slid a little bit. I like Edgerrin Cooper way, way better of Texas A&M. You guys probably do too. But if Edgerrin Cooper's not there at 50, or the Eagles, trade their picks and move around and don't take a linebacker, day 3, 3rd round, 4th round, 5th round, that's kind of the sweet spot for Jeremiah Trotter Jr. I'm totally fine with the Eagles drafting him and bringing him back to Philadelphia. And seemingly Howie is, likes the kid as well. They just need to get any linebacker. Get a linebacker in this draft, whether it's Cooper, Trotter Jr., or somebody else. We need more depth at that position. You can't trust Nakobe Dean to stay healthy, despite hoping that he does in this season. Either way, go please get a linebacker at some point. We got plenty more stuff happening next couple of days, which are going to be wild. Next week is going to be the craziest rumor week of the National Football League season because all sorts of smoke gets thrown out there. Some of it's true, some of it's not. We'll break it all down here on the channel. I'm Thomas Mott. Have a great weekend. This has been The Thomas Mott Show.